Hello and welcome to the round 20 review as the Blues get done again. This time by 14 points. It was 9 goals, 11, 65 to 11 goals, 13, 79. 40,500 people at Marvel Stadium on a Friday night, and it was bitterly disappointing once again. And we round out a pretty shit month, to be honest. Really thought the last 3 weeks we really did see the dip in form and the dip in energy over the 4 quarters. It's been a bit patchy. It's been 1 quarter. It's been a bit of a hold on. We've faced teams who are in contention for the 8, desperate to keep their season alive. We've faced a team in seemingly a rebuild, looking to finish their season strongly. And last night was, another team in that bottom end of the 8 who, Port have been in the top 4 conversation for years. And this is one of the first few times that they've found themselves where they are now. And it was once again a story of a team who was more desperate for long enough. Get to the stadium, get the news that Harry Mackay is a late out. Firstly, just on that, so strange. Is it just a coincidence that last week there was a controversy around his head knock and he just happened to fall sick morning of the game? I just thought it was a fascinating coincidence. I still felt, even with Harry out, we were still good enough and we still had plenty to win the game. Obviously, we lose to Koning for the season. Pitternet, more than capable of filling a role there. Not so worried there. Harry's definitely one that I felt we would struggle to replace, and we did. Lewis Young came in, and you feel for him. He's played in defence in the VFL all season long, and then all of a sudden he gets called up to play in a forward ruck role, which is just tough. That's a really tough situation to be in, and he battled willingly. Ultimately, it's a tough one to replace. Harry Mackay, I felt the loss of him last night on multiple occasions around the ground. The way in which we dominate the territory battle was lost. Harry is a big part of that because of his ability to be a presence around the ground, take a mark around the ground, allow us to play predictable off his hands. If he's not marking the ball, he's spilling it to our advantage for the most part. So that was always going to be an uphill battle. But to be honest, in that first half, I thought it was really positive. I thought we were playing a bit of an arm wrestle in that first quarter. We had a few shots on goal early. Charlie got into the game very early. We finally started to see us kicking the ball into the space in front of him as opposed to the air above him. I think McGovern hit him up on a beautiful lead. He kicks a goal. Then he wheels around from outside 50 for that shot on goal. Just misses. We were a bit inaccurate. Port Adelaide then had their moments in that first quarter. They were a bit more accurate. Game was in the balance. And then in the second quarter, I thought we just looked a level above. I thought we were able to absorb the pressure that was starting. They started and they finished on top of the clearance battle. I thought the midfield battle they got on top. But I thought we were absorbing their best and then punishing them on the scoreboard. And ultimately, that's the most important area that you want to be winning. That's the scoreboard pressure. And I thought that's what the second quarter was. It was brilliant. 7 goals. It just looked like we were so locked in, focused. The mentality switching from offense to defense, I thought was there. The reignition of the group, I thought was happening. Perfect play, I think, when we kicked that final goal in the first half. Charlie taps the ball down to Kennedy. Very intelligent play. Kennedy centers the ball to Motlop instead of blazing away. It just, it was perfect. It was almost perfect. We're up 31. Georgiades kicks that goal late in the second quarter. I didn't think that was going to be a dangerous goal. Super happy with what I saw at halftime. Super calm. I thought that was exactly what we were asking for midweek with the group. And then it just fell away. Also, I think the second quarters have been where we have received the most damage in the previous 3 weeks. All 3 of those games, we had really suffered some damage on the scoreboard, and our opponents had really got a hold of us in those second quarters. So I thought, okay, well, we've flipped that around, and then we just, it fell away. Port Adelaide made the adjustments. They defended Charlie. I mean, they were always defending Charlie with 2 or 3. Charlie was just able to get a hold of them early. The way in which we kicked the ball to him completely changed in the second half. Port Adelaide's pressure remained constant. If anything, it elevated ours. I don't think there was a lack of effort last night. I think there was a lack of an ability to absorb the pressure. And I just think by the end of the game, I mean, they've laid 91 tackles, Port Adelaide, and we fell apart. The ball remained in our back half longer than what we needed it to. Port Adelaide, not dissimilar to us, forward half team. There are similarities in the way we go about it to Port. They were just better in the contest. They were cleaner in traffic. They were able to absorb our pressure, get the handballs in traffic, find the outside player and go for it. And they were so much better than us. Yeah, I was perplexed. Third quarter happened, and I thought, okay, well, we're holding on. And, I was accepting of the fact that this is going to be a good game of footy. Fourth quarter will come along, and, we're going to have something to throw back. And we just didn't. We ran out of anything. Ran out of legs, ran out of moves. Kemp goes forward. Lewis Young goes back. Didn't work. The aerial threat. We just didn't have an aerial threat. And really missed Harry Mackay to bail us out a couple of times. Charlie was just... I thought Charlie and McGovern and, Wiedering were the only 3 on the night who I felt were aerial threats. Now, McGovern and Wiedering they both played really well in defence. I thought our defence as a whole, that back 6, back 7 was relatively good. But the leakage from clearance in the midfield, yet again, lets us down. And that group is just... That midfield group is just not clicking at the moment. Chera's continuing to play on the half-back line. There's obviously something going on there, whether it's him, his form, his body. It's a question that I don't know the answer to. And it's another loss, 14 points. We ran out of steam. We ran out of energy, and there's a fracture. It looks like there's a fracture. I mean, it's hard to say because the first half was so good. That was so well connected. We just aren't able to put it together for long enough in this last month. It falls apart. And the strength of this group was its ability to stay connected with one another. And I guess what got us here is our ability to find connection with one another. And we are watching teams just hang in there a little bit longer, and eventually we crack. I mean, you can't be playing in a second half and just trying to absorb the work from the work you did in the first half. Like that goes without saying. It's not rocket science, but yeah, something's off with the group. Don't know what it is. I don't know what the balance between, and I asked this question last week, and I think I asked it the week before. I don't know what the balance of the issue right now is. The structural nature of the game and the tactical nature of the game and the coaching that's happening, or the mentality. I know nothing, very little about the coaching side of the game and the tactical side of the game. I just see the mentality fall off a bit more. I lean into that more than anything, I guess, because I can see that unfolding in front of me more than what I can see, coaching directions being made and what's being spoken about. But yeah, we seem to have this bulletproof mentality. Only a month ago, we had a great run where we found this level and we earned so many credits in the bank, so to speak. And then week by week in the last month, we have just been throwing them away one by one. The competition is brutal and the competition is even. GWS and the Doggies were sitting outside of the 8 at the time that we played them. So is it just a simple scenario where, a different type of desperation? We're desperate to keep top 2. Some of these teams are desperate to just keep their spot in the 8 or get back in the 8. And that's a different type of desperation, because we can afford to lose without falling outside of the finals race, but some of these teams couldn't. And so backs against the wall for these 3 teams that we've lost to over the last month. So that, is there a bit of that? But at this point in the year, I mean, it's like, surely, like, I can understand the ebbs and flows of a season. I can. I understand that. I understand it's not going to be perfect. But I mean, it's July. It's about to turn to August. The next time we play, we're in the final month of the 2024 regular season. So when are we going to find ourselves again? How are we going to break through this next challenge? Because that's all this is. This is just the next challenge of the season, and the group, and the story of the group, that they've got to find a way to break through. They've broken through on a number of different challenges over the last couple of years, and I just think this is another one of them. I don't think the season is dead. I hope it's not. I'm still hopeful. I'm still confident in their ability. And I think because they've found a way out of holes, collective holes before, that I have faith that they're going to be able to figure it out again. Now, whether that's this season, I don't know. I hope so. But there's just so much at stake now. And at some point, the realization of the opportunity, I mean, I'm all of a sudden questioning, like, how badly do you want it? What are you motivated by? How much does the premiership, how committed are you to it? And it's weird to be asking that question at the end of July in the season. Is it just this part of the year that's an awkward part? It's, a bit of a dip. We had earned some credits. We had played really well up until this point, up until the last month. So, yeah, I'm a bit perplexed at it. Yeah, there's a group there that's not complete again. They're not on the same page yet again. The dare and the desire and the bravery of them, and the ability to generate energy, it's lacking. Is it just a 5-day break and we lost important players to our structure? I don't think so. Could be. Could have a little part to play into why we weren't able to finish the game strongly, potentially. But, I mean, their training block, they wouldn't have had a tough week on the track off a 5-day break. It would have been about recovery. We played Port Adelaide off a 5-day break previously in the year and finished the game super strongly. So I don't think we can use that as an excuse. And I don't think that they will. And I don't think they want to. And Vossi said as much. Mitch McGovern said as much. So it's not the 5-day break. I don't know. Fan cams was so therapeutic for me last night, to be honest. Some of you that came on and expressed, like, I found myself just sitting there because I was perplexed. I found myself sitting there, and I know I'm hosting it and I'm asking the questions, but I found myself just sitting there and just spectating because I needed something to understand what's going on. A few sentiments that I'd like to touch on. One being the seeds of doubt. So this group, for the first time, are in a position where opposition sides look at us as a litmus test. You know, if you're a team that's not in contention, even if you are, you're coming up against Carlton, we're getting the best of teams for 4 quarters. They want to beat us. They don't pity us anymore. We're a litmus test. They compare what they're trying to do against us. That has not been the case. It's that hunter mentality. We've been hunting for respect. Last year, we now have a bit of respect from the competition. I know we haven't won the flag, but the competition is looking at our form and respecting it. Such is the commentary around the team and the club from media, but more importantly from opposition coaches. I think that's more important to the point I'm trying to make, because the media will jump on you and jump off you week to week. And I think that's new, and I think that's an adjustment. And so how can we find our way to either hunt again and change that narrative, or accept the fact that we're hunted, and accept the fact that we've been respected by the competition, and give their fears some merit and put them away and start coming after teams again. This is such a critical point in the season for the coaching group to get these players in a mentality where they're empowered to be brave, where they're empowered to not go into their shells. That is not the time. This is not the time to be afraid. This is the time to embrace the seeds of doubt, embrace the fear of reality of what could be and what could slip away, and notwithstanding that, still play with that dare and that bravery. Because it's not going to get any easier. Every team that we play from here on in will smell blood. They'll see the blueprint of the last month and they'll absolutely apply it. Collingwood next week will 100% be confident that they can get the result. So, critical point. We are approaching it. It's the most crucial month now to find the form, find that connection, and get back on the winners list and find some momentum leading into the final series. So that's that. Player of the game, Charlie Curnow. Thought he was exceptional. Couldn't believe that there was even a suggestion that he was lazy and selfish throughout the week. Couldn't believe that I had to defend Charlie Curnow. Fascinating. Elijah Hollands, I thought, was exquisite, particularly in the first quarter. I want to give some love to Lockie Cowan. Some of the work he did behind the ball. First of all, to nullify his opponent. He played on Willie Rioli for the majority of the night. The way he peeled off for his teammates and the way they got around him for doing that was amazing to watch. Can't believe he's 19 years of age. I'm so impressed with him. I thought we saw Kennedy play in a role that was way more conducive to his strengths. I believe his strengths are more in the midfield and forward of the ball as opposed to in the midfield and behind the ball. I understand the need for versatility. But I thought he had some nice moments. I think we'll leave it at that. Very disappointed in that, but got to move on and got to get better and got to find it. Hopefully get some troops back next week, some more. But to be honest, I mean, you had a lot of the best troops out there anyway, so I don't think this was a personnel issue that lost us the game. Maybe Harry. But it is what it is. What about you? How are you feeling after round 20? How did you absorb that game? Did you see the second half coming after the first half? Were you as shocked as me to see that turnaround after finding the dominance in the game? Share with me and share with us your thoughts in the comments below of your experience. And now what? Where's your head at? Help us unpack this and we'll go from there. Go Blues. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. On your way out, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also go and check out the BA shop. We've got hoodies, t-shirts, AirPods case covers, key rings, water bottles, and of course, the BA pin. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks again for your support. It really does mean the world. And of course, go Blues.